Alka, it's such a pleasure to see you this evening for Coffee with Kalra, and I brought my cup of coffee. Have you brought yours?
Yes. Thank you so much,
Fantastic.
Ms. Lucia. It's indeed a pleasure to be on the show with you.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. We have another very interesting topic this evening, memory and concentration. Dr. Alka, what is memory?
Thank you so much for your question, Ms. Lucia. Memory is something very important. As a layman understands something which we are able to recall, which is kept inside our mind. But if technically we speak, memory is 3R. First, reception, taking the information in. Second, retention, holding the information in. And third, recall, bringing the information out. So in this 3R process, if at any stage things go wrong, that will certainly impact our memory. That means that while taking the information in, if there is a challenge, so if the information has not gone in, it cannot be retained and recalled. Or if the child has taken the information in, but he is not able to hold it right, retention process is not right, then also the recall is impacted. And sometimes retention is good, reception is good, but only the impact is on recall. Like when we're talking about memory, let me just explain a concept. Uh, there are two rooms. In one room, whenever you go, you just throw the item, throw, and keep throwing everything. And it's like piles of things in that room. The second is where you go and you structurally organize it, one on the top of the other, one on the top of the other. And if I expect you to bring something out of which room, I'm sure you would agree that room 2 will be much easier than room 1, because room 1 will require a lot of sorting. And that is how our memory storehouse is. So if we are organized and structured, then memory is better. But if we are not, then we certainly face the same challenges as we will face in pulling out the things from a very, very messy place.
That sort of reminds me of my day today. I had a pile of laundry. Now it's all organized. So I feel a lot better, and it's certainly much neater. Thank you, Dr. Alka. What is concentration?
Concentration is something very, very interesting. Actually, when we are doing some task and we are putting our mind onto that task, that actually determines concentration, that we are doing the task mindfully. Many a times we are doing something, but our brain is somewhere else. Children are sitting in the class physically, but their mind is elsewhere. They're thinking about something else. So that time, the concentration is not there. So being totally at the task which you're performing is called concentration. And a lot of people confuse concentration with attention span. Attention span is actually nothing but the stretch of time for which the concentration is there. So the fact remains that concentration is a very, very important thing. That means we are very mindful, we are very observant. Sometimes you're sitting in a room and somebody asks you once the minute you step out, that was there a television in the room? And you say, I don't remember. I didn't see it. Actually, I don't know. That means that you were not mindfully present there. And concentration is being on that task at that moment totally. That is what concentration is all about.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. How does concentration affect memory?
Very, very good question, Miss Lucia. Observation is the first step. The minute I say reception, once we're taking the first R, we're taking the information in, we use all our 5 sensory organs, because good Lord has gifted each one of us with receptory organs. So that is from the eyes, we can see, From the ear, we can hear. From the nose, we can smell. From the tongue, we can taste. From the skin, we can feel. These are our 5 receptory organs which takes the information in. Now, for any reason, if we are not mindful and we are not attending to, then we may not be receiving the information. So concentration is a prerequisite of memory, because once we concentrate, once we are able to focus on the things, then only we are able to receive it and take it in. So take any information in, it is very significant for us to receive it. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Can you kindly share what causes poor concentration? Poor concentration.
All right, this is a very, very right point, because a lot of parents do not look into it. Now, when we talk about concentration, concentration has a lot to do with a mental state. Now, any child who's not feeling well, thinking well, then he will not have good concentration. A child into depression and human being into depression can have a poor concentration. Lack of sleep, some of the adults have sleep disorder. They also indicate poor concentration. Concentration also depends on your lifestyle. So if you maintaining an unhealthy lifestyle, that means, that is why we say that children, when they're going to school, they should sleep on time, because when they sleep on time, they can get up on time and they have their restful night, which is so very important. A lot of parents are not aware of it. They just let these little children, be awake till the time they want to. Sometimes some teenagers are on with their mobile till late in the night. In early morning, they are expected to get up and go to school. That just create a lot of problem. So I think it is very important to have restful sleep. People who drink a lot alcohol, they are also found to have a poor concentration, because that again impacts your mind and mind's receptory organs. So that is why the concentration goes low. So to have a good concentration, one must have a healthy lifestyle and good health, which I think is very, very important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alka. Our next question is, how can we improve our concentration?
Very good question. Because the first thing is, a lot of people are thinking and thinking for a lot many things. Mindfulness is a very good activity for improving concentration. And nowadays, mindful meditation is taught to even young children. So young children can be very, very attentive, and they can be focused on the present. Sometimes we say, just sit still, close your eyes, look at your breathing, listen, focus on the sounds around. These are some activities which will help children to concentrate. And I think in a day, multiple times, an adult can focus on doing these kind of things, which will help children. Second is cognitive training. Now, what is cognitive training? Cognitive training is to play some thinking oriented games. So the moment we start doing that with children, and children are onto cognitive training, it's noticed that their concentration is the first thing which goes very, very well, because they need to be engaged. Engagement is the first step for concentration, because if you're not engaged in an activity, if you're not mentally and physically present what you're doing, where you are, then you may not be able to perform that well. So it's so very important. And above all, I think it is the lifestyle. Lifestyle is eating well, eating healthy, sleeping on time, regular exercises. These are very important factors. And I think especially now, year 2020-21, when pandemic is around and children have a total different lifestyle and everybody has become so homebound, I think parents particularly need to be cautious to see that children are sleeping on time, getting up on time, have a regular day to follow. even though they are studying from home, because if that kind of a schedule is missing, it can really harm children, and children may not be able to focus and have a lengthier attention span to get the better memory and better results. So it is very, very significant for us as educators and all those who are listening to this session. If you want children to have better memory, please ensure that they are onto mindfulness meditation on the regular basis. They should be able to do their regular lifestyle, positive lifestyle, and of course the cognitive training, which in brain-based training, which will help to improve concentration. Thank you so much, Ms. Lucia.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Our final question, how can we improve our memory?
All right, that seems very, very interesting. See, when we talk about memory, a very significant point here is certainly we need to improve all the 3 R's. So all the 3 R's is we have to improve our reception, we have to improve our retention, and we have to improve our recall. Now, memory is gone is the days when we thought that children were born out of intelligent parents, they have better memory, they are more intelligent. Today, we consider that memory is a skill which can be taught to anyone at any stage, at any age. So the first and the foremost, which I very, very strongly recommend to the parents, is to ensure that your children start using various memorizing techniques and training. Now, when to name a few to start with, at Edusscan leadership camps, memory and concentration is a regular part and parcel of activities where children learn and enhance and improve their memorizing skills in the form of a game. Everything is turned into a playway method. Now, let's learn about some of such methods. First, mind mapping. Mind mapping is an amazing tool, and I very strongly recommend that parents can even Google about it and teach your young children to start establishing mind maps. What is mind map? Mind map is that you take the theme idea in the middle, use multicolor pens, write in capital letters, make multiple branches. The whole chapter can be converted into just a single sheet of a paper. It is a drawing. Children love drawing. So when they have this A4 size of a paper and you keep this paper in a landscape form and you start to draw. So you keep your key point in the middle, and then say, for example, you have 4 points stepping out. So you make 4 different color branches, and then each branch has multiple, things coming out of it. So you want those branches, and eventually this mind map, you can actually paste it where your child sits and studies. So even the child is in a restful mind and just looks at it, it all gets back to his mind step by step. This is just one of the methods. Of course, there are plenty of methods. I will share visualization. What is visualization? Visualization is where we are training the person to see a mental image. You are able to visualize it. So whatever you are reading or whatever you're studying or whatever you're trying to memorize, you actually make a mental picture of it. The minute this picture is created, however colorful, however interesting, however moving and absurd it is, it'll be nice, because all strange things we remember. So we teach them how to make multiple pictures at your mind's eye, and then you are able to recall them better. Now, linking is like chaining. Chaining is putting it together. So like a chain, one concept to another concept to another concept. So the minute you're able to recall the first one, the whole chain is recalled because it is connected so beautifully well. Clusterization. What is clustering? Clustering is grouping, putting them under groups. Human brain can handle only 7 plus minus 2 clusters. Now, when we talk about clustering, if suppose there is a list of items a person has to recall, we call it a Kim's game as well. We play it in the camps and children love it. So say, for example, there are some stationery items, there are some animals, there are some fruits, there are some vegetables, and there are some utility items, and everything put together. You have about 25 items, and you ask your children to remember them. And then you expect them to recall. So it's been noticed that if you ask them to recall, they're not able to recall more than 7 to 10 items. So suppose you have given them 30 items. How and what can we do for a better recall of rest of the items? We teach them clustering. So what is clustering? We teach children, all right, see, there are some fruits. Okay, look for fruits and count how many fruits are there. So your one category, your one cluster is fruits. So say there are 5 fruits. So the moment you go in the process of recalling a cluster of fruits, you will remember all the 5 fruits. Then you go to the cluster of vegetables, and then you accumulate and say, all right, there were 6 vegetables. So you know all the fruits, all the vegetables, all the stationery, all the utilities, everything, whatever is there, those many numbers are in your mind, and recall becomes easier. So as I was telling you, structured memorizing, structured keeping it, structured retention, recall will always be better. Not only this, at Edusscan, we teach our children something amazing, which is called pegging. And pegging is an interesting method by which children are able to recall 100 digits in the same order. So our memory trainings are the talk of the town. In Kalish Times, we had a long article about it where children are given random numbers. And you know, numbers are abstract and numbers are most difficult to recall. And parents will keep giving numbers in the random order till it becomes 100. And our children are able to recall all these 100 numbers in the same order. Whereas sometimes we motivate the parents to come forward and, compete and challenge your own children. But believe it, children are able to perform better than their own parents. The reason being, they have a trained memory. So its memory is something very simple. One can train on memory. It is not something which you're born with, but it is something which you cultivate. So there are various steps to retain it in your memory span in a more structured way, so that the recall is better. To start with, the first point, which is the reception, we need to include our all the 5 sensory organs in taking this information in. The moment we are able to take this information in correctly and store it out correctly, recall will never have a challenge. But it is how are we taking it in and how are we holding it in to bring in the desired results. And I very strongly recommend all the parents who are listening to us to ensure that we are in the position to motivate our children by playing the playway method of doing it. There are something, and once it is taught using these methods, information lasts in their memory for a very long time. So memory storehouses are like immediate memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. So there are some things which stay for a few minutes, few hours, few days, and number of days and years and lifelong, which is a long-term memory. So if a concept is repeated and revised, then it certainly goes to the next level. And we say that there is a primacy effect and there is a recency effect. Primacy effect is the things which are taught to you initially, they will be remembered. And researchers have shown that the things which are taught at the end are easy to remember. But in the middle, they get muddled up. So that is the place where you need to use the strategies to memorize and have the great results. Thank you so much, Miss Lucia.
Well, a big thank you to you, Dr. Alka. My, oh my, so much we've learned this evening about memory and concentration. Now we have a few minutes and we can call upon our viewers if they have any questions, Doctor, that they would like to ask. And we do invite our viewers to participate actively so that it always is more interactive that way for our entire community. So please go right ahead and ask your questions, dear viewers.
So we have 3 viewers here. We have Saika, we have Batul, and we have Ali. So I request Saika, Batul, and Ali to kindly ask the question. Please ask anything to do with memory. If you have any doubt, you want any clarification, and you're most welcome to ask, so that you are not only able to have better memory for yourself, but you're able to help people around you and help them to have great memory. So it's your time now.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My question is, how can I improve my focus?
All right, very, very good. How can you improve your focus? What is focus? Focus we spoke about is that being in the moment where your mind and your heart, everything is together in that task. Many a times our children have divided attention. They're physically present in the classroom, but mentally they are gone somewhere, maybe something which they did last night with the family, or something they read, or something they watched a movie. So that is called where your thinking and your feeling and your imagination, they all are not congruent. So when we talk about focus, that means being in the moment. So what you're learning, if your mind is totally on that, that is the time you're more focused. So to be focused, I very strongly recommend that children should be put on mindful meditation, because that improves your focus. You can even play some observation games like spot the difference. That's something wonderful. So they need to be very focused. You have 2 pictures and children need to look at identical pictures, but pick those small, small differences among that. Not only that, Saika, I would also suggest to play some observation games like, you say, all right, close your eyes and now think about the wristwatch which you watch every other minute, which is tied on your left hand. And then you say that, okay, draw the dial of your wristwatch. And after that, you ask the children to compare it. And you would be surprised to see that children, many a times, when they see the the wristwatch, which they see so many times in a day, they must have seen hundreds of times, they're not able, because they're not able to recall the dial or draw the dial, because they don't see it mindfully, because their focus is only to see what the time is, and many other things are just ignored. So they are ignored because our observation is weak. We play a lot of observation games, like you ask them to, okay, draw your own bedroom, think about the items which are in your bedroom. So you talk about, okay, you have a bed, you have a window, and you have a little couch, and you have your dressing mirror, and you have your own cupboard where you have your clothes, and then you're stuck up. And then you forgot that small little timepiece on your bedside table, or you forget many other things which are right up there. So these are the games which we can play with our children to improve their focus and their concentration. And in turn, they will have better memory. So we can play a lot of games to support children to improve their memory. Thank you very much, Saika, for your question. Batul, would you like to ask something?
Dr. Alka, Batul has actually left us a message saying, good evening, thanks, it was informative. So we thank Batul for that message as well.
Thank you very much, Batul. Thanks a lot. So it was indeed a very, very good evening, and we learned so many activities and so many games. And as the holidays are around the corner and children are going to be more free at home, so parents, now it's your time to keep them engaged with lovely activities. And if you are busy, then we are there for you. Edusscan is holding a spring camp, and our spring camp is starting from the 11th of March, because few of the schools in Dubai are closing much earlier. And these spring camps are going to last till the mid of April. So whenever your school is closing down, You can enroll your children with us, and the courses are given on the weekly basis. You can choose to enroll your children for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or the number of weeks they have their holidays. And this year, we're doing both. We are doing our physical camps as well as we are doing our online camps. And that is why when we have the online camps, children from any part of the world can join us. So, Miss Lucia, we also are doing the correctional program. Can you tell our audience more about the correctional program, please?
Certainly. So if you've recognized that your child is needing a little bit more one-on-one, whether it's having to do with behavior or language development, we will cater to the child accordingly and meet the needs of the child one-on-one. So we are always present for our community, and we will ensure that the child receives the best always, because the child always comes first. So we are always present, Doctor, and it's so delightful now that we do give our families a choice whether they want to have their children participate online or physically. So we're always present.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lucia. And I think it's been a very, very entertaining as well as an educative discussion for our families to support their children if they have time. And I always believe that families can do miracles if they are informed and they know it. So come on, parents. Now the ball is in your court and you need to play it with your children and make their holidays very exciting and very educative. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dr. Alka. Till the next time, have a lovely evening. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So long, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.